What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This one's actually going to be an interesting one, so this is not going to be a very entertaining video. I just want to create a little intro with the whiteboard here. What I want to do in this video is break down the 3 reasons why people buy consulting services. So this is actually going to be a 2-part video. First part is me giving a little intro here with the whiteboard. Second part is actually a recording of a coaching call that I had with one of our high-end mastermind clients, one of my one-to-one clients, Jimmy. He's launching a program. He's got a massive audience. We're just starting very small, and we're slowly scaling it over time. We're going to get into 7 figures a year pretty quick, but there's just some false beliefs he had about why people buy consulting. And I was having this conversation earlier today with him, and I figured, you know what? This would make a really great piece of content for my audience, whether you pay me a dime or not. Hopefully this helps you sell more of your consulting, your coaching, and you get better results for your clients. So here's the 3 reasons why. That's a horrible looking 3. 3 reasons why. A, proximity to the person that represents their desired outcome. So if you personally have achieved a goal or have gotten a result or have arrived at a certain place in your life, then people will simply pay to be in the same room with you. And this isn't something that is like out of arrogance. It's not out of you thinking that, the sun shines out of your every orifice. It's really just the fact that people have goals and they want to achieve them faster. And so proximity to you is the first thing they're paying for. So when I'm on this call with my client Jimmy, he's saying, I'm having a hard time kind of conceptualizing why people are here. They paid me this money. I've already made my money back from investing with you, but he was talking about working with me, but he's like, I just feel like the problem is that I just can't really continue to justify something. It just feels weird. And so I was walking him through why people buy. The other one is they don't know how to do it themselves. The DIY element of this business, do-it-yourself element, is confusing to them. They don't know where to start. They don't know where to go, and they're just kind of stuck because the reality is, as much as they want to achieve their goals and they know that once they achieve them, it'll fundamentally change their life and they'll reach there, they just don't know where to start. They don't know, what's the first thing I do? That's a very common question for somebody, who's maybe joining our program, the Consulting Blueprint program. It's like, what's the first thing that I do? And that's the second reason why people will buy with you, is because they just want that first thing so that they can take that first thing and move it forward and permanently start to build momentum in that direction. They just don't know where to start. They know they need to do this. They know it's what they have to do. I was just on a call yesterday with an incoming client, and that was his exact reason. Look, at the end of the day, I just know that I don't know where to start, even though I know that this is exactly what I want to do. And C is they know they could do it themselves. They just want to do it faster. They want to do it faster. They know they can do it themselves. They just want to do it faster. So, you talk with a lot of people. One of my favorite questions that we train our clients on when they're talking to potential clients is so what's stopping you from doing this yourself? Because what the beauty of that question is, it's going to keep you from selling people that honestly don't need you, which is great because you don't want to sell anybody that you can't help or that doesn't need your help. And B, it's going to get them to admit that they do need help if the reality is they do. So what's stopping you from doing it yourself? Well, maybe they can do it themselves. Maybe they'll be like, well, I can do it myself. I know that I can. If you just gave me a year, I'd be able to do this. But I want to do it in 3 or 4 months because I'm working on a timeline, or maybe they just want the result quicker, or who knows what. So these are the 3 reasons why people buy consulting. And so I want you to listen to this call with my client, Jimmy, where I go further in depth into these concepts. It'll be about halfway through the call. I want you to listen to the whole thing and kind of get an idea of the context of the situation. And if you really want, let me sell you on really spending some time listening to this, because it's going to be a long listen, and it's just going to be a black screen or some, I don't know what image my editor's going to put there, because it's just audio. It's just me with my AirPods in talking to a client with his AirPods in, and we're just going back and forth over Zoom. And so I don't know what's going to be on the screen, but I really want you to listen to this whole thing, because by the end of it, I promise you, you are going to feel significantly more justified in your consulting or your coaching service, because if you can't sell yourself first on what you do, then it is going to be next to impossible to sell others on what you do. Concept number 1 of selling anything is sell yourself first. So if you have a hard time believing in your offer, if you have a hard time knowing that what you do is valuable, listen to this video in full, take some notes, let me know what you think in the comments, feel free to shoot me a message, and hopefully this is valuable for you. Hopefully this increases your sales percentage, hopefully this sends more clients your way, and hopefully you make some money thanks to this video. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, dude. I'm really good. We are having a great week in the business, and just got a good workout in. Doing great, man. How's your
Nice.
week been?
Yeah, it's been good. I've been
Good.
busy, but it's been good.
Yeah,
Just getting caught up on a bunch of stuff, and yeah,
yeah, man.
that's pretty much it.
Still catching up since you took that week out to do the event.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm catching up on stuff from then. It's just pretty much constant with all the
Yeah,
different stuff that I have going on. So that's the
yeah.
hardest part. Is just
Any new progress in the in the business we're working on?
so that's what I wanted to ask you about. So as I've done like some of the the calls. So I did the second group call. I've done a couple second coaching calls, and they're going really well. My
Good.
only my only thing is I don't know if it's just because of my prior experience of pretty much setting up limited time things or what, but I'm not sure how this can be easily um like easy to add somebody in midway through, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it almost seems more step by step whenever I'm looking at the group calls.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I think I might just want to reframe that fear for you. I think you're thinking. Let me make sure I'm hearing you right. You're thinking if you add somebody, let's say a month or two into the program already being launched,
Hmm.
like they're going to be kind of behind, and everybody else is going to kind of be ahead, and they're going to feel out of place. Is that what you're saying?
That, and yeah, the content each week that I'll be doing kind
Yeah,
of builds off of the other stuff. So, I
dude. Um, here's my solution. First of all, it's a mental reframe. And let's see what you think of this mental reframe,
okay.
because I used to think the same thing. Instead of, if somebody joins this community, they're going to be behind. Um, the shift is they're joining a community that's already ahead of them,
Mhm.
and by that, they're raising their environment, and they're going to be pushed, and they're going to have to raise their standards. It might be challenging, but it will be worth it because they're actually going to get a better start than if they would have joined
Okay.
previously. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of a little bit of a mental reframe, because I can definitely see where that fear is coming from, but I can tell you, A, from experience, I've never had that complaint.
Okay.
Never had that complaint. And B, another more tactical solution is you're recording your calls with these clients, yeah?
Yeah.
And just pop them into a course portal, give your new clients access, say, hey, part of the standard kind of onboarding procedure is just once a day, in the evening when you got some time, you watch, one of the group coaching calls until you're caught up, or you've watched at least five, or something like that. That way they kind of have some context.
Yeah.
Because then you can have some content with this program pretty quickly too.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess, is there ever a point where you start to run out of content ideas, or do you just kind of recover similar topics, every 6 months or something, or how do you work that
Yeah.
out?
Well, there's two types of places to teach, right? Like for you, it's all principle. For me, there's a lot of principle and there's a lot of methods. So like, there's
Yeah.
like softwares we use, and there's like, strategies.
Yep.
It's kind of like, like how, there's a million tools. There's Infusionsoft, ClickFunnels, freaking, Go High Level. There's a million of them. There's a million different social media platforms. There's tons of different ways to, generate ad copy, whatever. So that sort of content I'm always kind of refreshing every now and again, maybe once a year. The rest of it, it pretty much stays the same. Like, um, you know, I've re-recorded a lot of our training just to keep it up to speed with, like, honestly, just with how I've changed in my speaking patterns. And also I don't really want, 18-year-old me to represent our new program. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've re-recorded it, but it's the same content. So for a lot of like the mental reprogramming training, the fundamentals of marketing, understanding what a KPI is, and like all that sort, all the basics. Because
Yeah.
my theory is the basics applied well is significantly more powerful than any advanced or new strategy. So yeah, I would say those are two things to think about, and then also my content ideas just kind of are sourced from the challenges that my clients are facing currently. So there's always new content. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I think just like anything else, like it's almost like when you're just starting to hit the gym, you have like newbie gains,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with like launching a program. Like there's newbie content inspiration where like 80% of it comes in the first 4 months, and then the final 20% comes in the next 5 years.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, you're going to be, it's going to be pretty clear what your clients need. I imagine if you just sat down with a pen and a pad and just thought, okay, what are the questions people are facing? Like, what are their goals? And what, I like to envision a coaching program, not as a series of topics you're going to talk about or anything like that, but as almost like you know, you represent or you understand all the 10, 20, or 30 like proverbial like dominoes that need knocked over in order for them to be where they want to be. And they might be joining the program with 4 or 5 of them knocked over, and they just need help with the rest in no particular order.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of how I perceive it. And so, I don't know if that helps you kind of visualize it or think it through, but that's really helped me when it comes to what's really the value in getting a coach. It's, well, there's, me working with you, there's, 40 little dominoes. Like maybe I could write them all out, like organic sales, customer management team, fulfillment, course, all these little things.
Yeah.
And so it's just proximity to being with someone that has all of them knocked over, has knocked them over for other people too. So yeah, that's sort of where your content comes from, and you don't have to communicate to your clients as dominoes if you don't want to, but that's just kind of how I envision it. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
And the reason I like dominoes is when you knock one over, odds are it knocks over another 5 or 6,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And, a lot of the content stuff has been much more, it's not as easily applicable. I mean, the first 2 have been kind of easily applicable, but after that, that's where I'm a little concerned with they're more just topics,
Yeah.
because it's not like Amazon, where I can say,
Right.
okay, once you understand this software program, a Keepa, you can go out and source new inventory. It's not like
Right.
that. So maybe it's just difficult for me to feel.
Well, it's a bit more conceptual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's funny that you say that. As much as you say that, I think the reason why you feel like Amazon is like a clear framework is because you've been teaching it for so long.
Yeah.
It's not because there's a clear framework for Amazon. It's just because you understand the framework.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I want to encourage you, like, I'll get to the same place with my program and with my clients, my coaching and what I do. It's like, I'll be like, man, there's like, everything's so intellectual and up in the air, but it's not, it's really not. Like when I'm sitting here talking with you, it naturally crystallizes into such clear action items.
Yeah.
Because I understand at a very, very high level, at the peak of the pyramid of what I do for my clients is just like 3 or 4 things. It's just very high level conceptual. And as that pyramid starts to go down, it turns into more and more action items and more specific little changes in the business and on and on. So yeah, dude, I definitely, I'll tell you, you're not crazy for feeling that way. Like I'm working with a client right now. He does about 30 grand a month as a wedding photographer. Okay. And he's launching a wedding photography program.
Okay.
And he said the exact same thing. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, like there's so many ways you can help people. Like, he's like, I just don't know how to help them. I just feel like I just kind of stumbled into this. I'm like, bro, that's an incredible marketing message. Like, what did you do right in order to stumble into, 400 grand a year as a photographer? Like, so, I just think people limit themselves because, I think there's this false belief in coaching that somehow you are the source of the change in your client, but really you're not. It's your experience that is. And it's like your history and everything that you've done up until this moment and your story. It's not you in this moment in your words. And, I feel like when I relieved myself of the pressure of saying the right thing every time for a client, and I just started honestly just exchanging ideas with them from a place of what I know to be true, that's when things got a lot easier.
Okay.
So I don't want you to put pressure on yourself. Be like, what do I need to teach?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cause the group calls have been good. I mean, people have responded well to them. So, that's been encouraging.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, and one thing too, there's 3 reasons why people buy consulting. This is something that I learned from a mentor of mine. It's like, it's proximity to somebody who is closer to a given outcome than the client. So proximity is the first thing that they pay for. So if they get nothing else other than calls with you, Jimmy, they're going to be happy, because really they're just here to kind of develop that relationship, learn a bit more, and apply some ideas to their business and their career,
Yeah.
and it can be that simple. There's people that will pay 10 grand for that. I've had people. So this past week, we're sitting on our first, it's pretty awesome. We're sitting on our first 6-figure week in the business.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's incredible. The team is just showing up. I'm literally just doing calls like this and then coaching the team. So it's a lot of fun. But anyway, in this past week, we had somebody roll through, paid full price for my 1-to-1. And literally, I was like, so, and I didn't talk to him. So my head coach, Jeremy, he's kind of doubles as our like sales guy, closed him on the phone. And the next day we had a call, and I'm just on this call, and the guy just has no agenda. He just is like, man, I just want to develop a relationship. I just want some help. And like, when I didn't impose my own agenda on what he wanted, and I didn't try so hard to make the call valuable, I just let him kind of tell me what he needed. By the end of the call, he was like, this is exactly what I needed. I just let him lead it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised, dude. Like, people really just pay for proximity, and it feels weird. It feels cocky. It feels arrogant. It feels like, am I really worth that much? But you got to understand, it's not you they're paying for. You represent this archetypal ideal in their head of where they want to be in that moment. Right. And so in all humility, I will step back and represent that for them, because I know that that's what they need to further themselves in their journey. It's not that I think I'm special. It's just that they have me in this place in their head. And if I impose my will on that relationship, then I might actually be hurting their experience, not helping. You know what I mean? It was crazy, dude. I mean, the guy pays 25 grand in cash, and I'm on this call. Wow. And he's like, I just want to, like, he's like, I honestly don't know exactly what I need from you. I just know that he's doing about 40 grand a month. He coaches people, and like, he's like a Shopify coach guy. Yeah. And he's like, the main thing I can think of is just kind of want help building my team. I think that's what I need. And I'm like, so you don't even know what you need? It's like, I honestly don't even know what I need. I'm like, all right, well, let's like figure it out. Yeah. He knows he wants to get to 6 figures a month, and he wants to do it within about a year and a half or so. Okay. So I'm like, all right, so there's some tangible goal there, but even that, he was like, I'm not even sure that that's what I want to do. So people really do pay for proximity, man. And like, I think trying to impose your own will actually hurt your relationships, not help them. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Does that kind of help you think that through?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And the other 2 reasons, by the way, proximity is one. The other one is getting to their goals faster and with more certainty. Because I think on some level, everybody knows they could do these things themselves, but they'd rather just get straight to the meat of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the final one is they genuinely do not think they can do it themselves. So those are the 3 reasons.
Absolutely. That makes sense. Yeah, and I know that I've got a couple more one-on-ones this week for their second call. So yeah, so I'm excited for that to be able to help them. And it's given me a lot of clarity on what they need. And hopefully too, I can look at them whenever I'm done with the assessment, look at these 3 assessments for the 3 people and get a better feel for what other people would potentially be looking for. Totally. I wish there was a way, man, that I could just like outsource all of the getting clients piece, up front, but I know I need to do some of that myself first. So
well, dude,
I have outsourced my website a little bit more though. So luckily I've been working with a VA just because I don't have the time. So this VA is going to do that. Yeah.
One of the deliverables you've got with working with me is, and this is something we've actually added recently, for our full price, but I'm happy to do it for you, dude. My team will train any of your team members. So, this past week, like I said, we had our first 6-figure week. And, I really honestly just, it's surreal, because all I did this week is just kind of work with the team for 1 or 2 hours a day, take a few 1-to-1 calls, maybe 1 a day. And then I made some content, and it's just like, I'm just doing the high level stuff that I know moves the needle. Yeah. And so the team, to help you understand, like, we've got organic marketing managers that just kind of do the post for us. They speak with people either on their own accounts, or even inside of ours if we feel like that's necessary. And our goal KPI is like anywhere from 5 to 8 sales consults every day. And then I've got my sales rep who kind of takes maybe, I'd say 90% of those. Occasionally he'll fling one to me when the form looks like it's going to be a it's going to be hard to sell.
Yeah.
Some people think their sales rep should take the hard ones. They should take the easy ones. I flip that. I'm like, I'll take the hard ones because I know how to sell this better than anybody else.
Right.
But yeah, man, I mean, at any point, like if you've got people in mind, I've got at this point 5 team members. Every single one plays a role, both in the marketing to get calls, the closing of those calls, the onboarding of the clients, getting them results within our flagship CB program, which is where a lot of our results have come from. It's a group coaching program.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, I mean, you can use and abuse their time as much as you want. Like, I'll shoot you a list of all their names and you can hit them up on Slack.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll actually send to you, this is just something we've added to our one-to-one offer very recently. And so I was excited for our call today. We actually have Loom videos from all of our team members kind of basically breaking down what their role is. So, like what roles you need to scale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna shoot that your way.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
So basically, if I did have somebody that I wanted to bring on to do the prospecting for me, so how would that work? Would I just reach out to one of the team members, or would I reach out to you?
Reach out to the team member. I'm shooting you all the Looms right now over Slack.
Okay.
And you can kind of get a vibe of like, who does what just by watching these Looms. I don't know when you have time. It's going to be probably about 40 minutes of watching. And I'd encourage you to actually, watch all of them just so you're going to understand every role. But let me shoot them all to you. So that's Jeremy, Dylan, Matthew. Let me get you Ben. So Jeremy, head coach for CB. Head coach. And he will also take the incoming calls because I feel like, I just don't like the ethics of like having somebody who's in sales that is only in sales. I just don't like that. It's just like he's so clearly after commission. So he gets paid. The way we compensate him is a mix of the client satisfaction after the end of their first 3 months in the program, as well as commission. So we can talk more about that if that's something you'd want to do. Then Dylan, another head coach, but he's kind of like a right hand. He's trained a lot of my team up. And he's really just he's kind of like a generalist within the business. It's good to have a generalist. He kind of knows everything about, 60, 70% of the way. He trained up Matthew, who's the next Loom I just sent you. He's, our organic, he'll put out posts, he'll add some value in our community, he'll prospect for us. And then I'm actually bringing on, my brother Chase. He's going to play the same role Matthew's playing, but specifically on LinkedIn, because I just think that that's a huge blue ocean for us because we've gotten some incredible clients through LinkedIn recently.
Wow,
so let me shoot you the last. Yeah, it's awesome. So let me shoot you the last. So here's Ben's. Ben Green is our ops guy. Okay. He basically, turns our whole business into a math problem so we can solve it very rationally. Like he knows all the numbers. And he knows all the finances, and he basically, he can help me at any point. I can just be like, hey, Ben, like I need a pulse check. Like, how are we looking? And he can boil the entire business down to a few, scores from 1 to 10, like client satisfaction, health of the pipeline, mood of the team, mood of the community, just like all these numbers so that I can kind of keep a clear eye on exactly what's moving.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude. And, I don't think you need a bin right now. I do think you will eventually, but I think it's just good for you to know all the roles. I think really the main thing that you need is a Matthew, and so you're welcome to even get a call with Matthew, and Matthew, and whoever you think could prospect with you, and just crank it out. So.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. The appointment setting is the hardest part for me, honestly. So
no doubt, it's time consuming for sure.
Yeah, and there's just so much that I take on, and I probably shouldn't have. But this has worked out well. I mean, it's been cool to see. I mean, honestly, just getting the first 3 people was pretty cool to have that happen. And I've applied some of this stuff to some of the other things that I do. So just so you know, I've made back the money in the program. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool to see that. But yeah, man, I don't have any other questions. And so I'm going to watch those videos probably this weekend and figure out.
Well, I mean, hey, we blocked out an hour. Maybe you just take this hour and watch them.
Okay. Yeah, true. Yeah, I could finish up the rest of this hour.
yeah, they just reach out to whoever you want. I mean, they really are accessible to you anytime, dude. So
Okay.
their names are in the CB Slack channel.
Okay.
So you could just look them up, shoot them a Slack. And, you know, if they don't get back to you within a day, just ping me. I'll just kind of nudge them because, you know, obviously they're heads down serving
Yeah.
in our community, doing their thing. So, but, you know, a part of their agreement to be on board in my company is, you know, unlimited hours of training, my one-to-ones. So yeah, dude, I mean, you know, it really, honestly, it's worth 10 times what, you know, we charge. Cause I mean, like, dude, we had a 6-figure week. So it's like, you know, they're
Yeah.
really, really, really effective, and it's an incredible resource. So just consider it a gift, man. Like, anytime you need help, hit them up. And I've got them all on contracts, so I'll be here for at least 2 years. So
Okay.
you know, you can take your time if you need, but you know, I would assume I would encourage you to do that sooner than later, even if you're not sure you're gonna have a prospector this month. Like, still, you know, get to know the role and understand the dynamics of it.
Yeah.
And I think it'll really, really help you grow. And one of the things too is, I think a lot of people are afraid that somebody who's doing prospecting for them won't represent their message well, and that's where you can even dip your hand inside of your existing client community after you build those relationships for a minute. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I do with my entire team. My entire team is previous clients. So
That's awesome. Yeah. And I know
yeah,
that there's at least one person in my group that I think would be really good as a team member after
yeah,
going through it. So yeah, I think he could end up being somebody based off the description, like a Dylan or somebody. You
totally,
know, yeah.
totally. And until Dylan trained Matthew, you know, who obviously sets the calls directly,
Yeah.
Dylan was setting the calls. So he was
Okay.
coaching in the community, he was setting calls, he was putting out posts on his
Gotcha.
profile, on LinkedIn, Facebook, everything.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think a lot of people think is that, you know, like, they have this idea that you, Jimmy, have to be the one making the posts. I haven't found any statistical difference in me being the one who's posting in groups or Matthew. I haven't.
Okay.
Like, we can set calls either way. So I think a lot of people in the industry will coach, you know, that you have to be the face. And like, I think I'd say about half the time people invest knowing who I am, which is surprising to a lot of people. They assume that everybody knows who I am. But what's cool is, dude, I mean, like, I've proven it out. Like, you do not have to be the face.
Yeah.
You can be the face once they join the program. Once they're in the program, they're like, "Oh, head coach is Jimmy. Jimmy's like a cool guy, huh?" And they've already paid you $4,000 before they even know who you are, you know. And
Right.
that's
Right.
happened to us a few times where, like, they join assuming Jeremy is the lead, and then they get in and they're like, "Oh, who's this Trey guy?" And it's the coolest thing, because it's like, it's just huge proof of concept that, you know, I don't need to be Mr. Influencer, you know.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, dude.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll watch these videos. There's something else I was going to say or ask, but I can't remember now, but I'll reach out if I remember it.
Yeah.
How's your
Just
mom
hit me,
doing, by the way?
dude. I really appreciate you asking.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. She's healing up. She's actually doing
Good.
really good. I would say better than she's been in months, dude. You know,
Good.
my brother, I mean, Chase, you know, who we're bringing onto the team. He and I were on the phone yesterday talking about his role here, and he's like, "Dude, like, ever since mom's been better, like, I've had more time, and I feel like I can devote to the role." So yeah, I mean, you know,
Awesome.
she's definitely doing better. And you know, there's no like permanent damage, you know, which is
Right.
good post surgery. So she's not going to be carrying around any unnecessary like chronic pain. But the
Okay.
doctors did say that, like, it will return once every year or other year or so. So she will need to have the same operation done, but as they do it more and more, it'll become less and less. Like, you know, her body will get more and more used to it.
Yeah.
So this time it knocked her out for like a week, but next time around it should just be a day or two healing process. Then the doctor's saying eventually she can have it done, and then a day of she'll be able to heal, because,
Wow.
you know, you think about it, not to get TMI, but, you know, it's a bladder infection, so they'd actually fill her bladder with fluid to, you know, flush it,
Yeah.
and it actually extends the walls of the bladder, and so that can be really painful. But then it'll get used to it. It'll see it coming, and you know, your body's a pretty magical thing, you know. So
Right.
eventually it'll just be once every other year she's got to go in and just get it done, and then, you know, take a nap. You know,
Right.
so
Yeah.
so you know, yeah, I'm just glad it's nothing I'm glad she didn't have to get opened up or anything, you know,
Yeah.
because that's just as much as she may have needed it for the pain, you know, and I'm not calling my mom old by any means, but you know, just you know, her body, it's just a lot of healing, you know, for a woman that's already going through so much. And so I'm just glad it didn't have to be like an actual surgery. So I appreciate you asking, dude. She's definitely doing better.
Okay,
Definitely doing
good.
better. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
And I gave her a little like a budget. Her and I are going shopping uh, sometime soon. I said, hey, once you're all healed up and you're good to go, I'm giving her like a, you know, couple grand or whatever. Just go get her something nice, just a little
Yeah.
gift because she's just been through so much. And then our whole community got her flowers. I don't know if you saw that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Since
so
them, I
cool,
hope they
man.
made it.
Did you really? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure they
Yeah.
did, dude. I'm sure they
Okay.
did. You know what's so funny, man? Like it backfired in a way that I wasn't expecting. I totally forgot that my dad is like pollen allergic like
Oh no.
crazy. So like all this flour just kind of knocked him out for like a whole day. And
That's
he was like, Trey, like such a great move, like so loving, but dude, I am dead. So
yeah.
yeah, it's pretty
That's
funny.
funny.
Yeah, because you just imagine like a whole room filled with flowers, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
it's
crazy.
so funny. Well, cool, man. I'll let you go.
All right.
Hit me anytime.
Will
Watch
do.
those looms, and we'll stay in touch.
All right. Sounds good, Trey. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.
Thanks. Bye.